Mein Name ist Matthias Einhoff und ich bin einer von den Machern des Zentrums für Kunst und Urbanistik und gehöre mit zum Künstlerkollektiv Kunstrepublik.
Okay, hello, mein Name ist Harry Sachs und ich bin auch einer von den dreien von der Kunstrepublik.
Mein Name ist Philipp Horst und ich bin einer der drei Gründer des Zentrums für Kunst und Urbanistik, in dem wir uns jetzt befinden und über das wir jetzt sprechen werden. Mein Alter ist 40 Jahre. Ich stehe also in der Blüte meines Lebens. Und ich selber bin bildender Künstler und arbeite aber mit dieser Gruppe zusammen seit 6 Jahren. Vor 6 Jahren haben wir uns gegründet und wir arbeiten seitdem in verschiedenen Zusammenhängen. Ja, das ZKU ist die Abkürzung für Zentrum für Kunst und Urbanistik. Und da ich einer der Gründer bin, kann ich eigentlich die Geschichte von ganz Anfang an erzählen. Und zwar waren wir auf der Suche nach längerfristigen Atelierräumen, damals 2008, und sind auf dieses Interessensbekundungsverfahren des Bezirks gestoßen, das hier eine Nachnutzung gesucht hatte für dieses leergefallene Bahnhofsgebäude um das herum oder eigentlich an deren Stelle ein Park entstehen sollte. Mittlerweile ist es ein Stadtgarten. Und haben uns beworben mit einem Konzept, das vorsah, diesen Park über 10, 15 Jahre mitzuentwickeln, über künstlerische Projekte. Das hat dann so nicht stattgefunden, diese Entwicklung des Parks, weil bestimmte Gelder ausgegeben werden mussten in bestimmten Zeitspannen und ein Landschaftsarchitekt damit beauftragt wurde. Nichtsdestotrotz waren wir weiter in Verhandlungen mit dem Bezirk über die Nutzung und über einen Erbpachtvertrag, den wir dann im Jahre 2012 schließen konnten. Die Idee des ZKU ist, eine Plattform zu sein für Kunst und Stadt, also Kunst, die sich nicht nur im Atelier passiert, sondern Kunst, die rausgeht in den Stadtraum, den sowohl dort auftaucht, als auch thematisch sich damit beschäftigt und nicht nur mit Künstlern hier zusammen zu wohnen, sondern auch mit Stadtforschern.
I'm Samuel. I live in Berlin for a year now. I was before in Beijing, and then before in Spain, and before in France because I'm French. I came in Berlin to work here actually. Like got this kind of internship grant, European Leonardo program thing. I used to be an intern for 6 months, and now working here for 6 months.
My name is Julio Pastor. I'm a Mexican artist. I studied visual arts in Mexico, and in 2008 I moved to the Netherlands, where I started a master program, and well, after this master program in fine arts, I began to work a lot in relation to urbanism and to the ways cities are constructed and rebuilt. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the place where I come from, like Mexico City, is completely different to any city in the Netherlands in terms of size, but also of the way they are just built. So somehow this made me much more sensible to issues regarding urbanism in general, I guess. I arrived in the beginning of September, so and I'll be leaving at the end of November, so that means 3 months in total.
My name is Nancy Susan Woods. I'm an artist based in New York, and I'm originally from Massachusetts, from a small town called Rainham, Massachusetts. I have been painting and printmaking, I guess, since I was an undergrad. Studied painting at Rhode Island School of Design, and then just recently finished my master's at City College in New York. And yeah, before that I lived in the Midwest for a little while and worked as a bookbinder, and then ended up moving back to New York and worked in book and paper conservation. So I have this like 8 years kind of chunk in between my undergrad and grad school when I ended up doing this other thing related to bookbinding. I've been here since the middle of July. I started here at ZKU in August, so I was the first batch of residents of the first batch of people who moved in here. And I'll be here until the end of November, and then I'll go back to New York.
My name is David Molander. I'm a Swedish visual artist. I'm 29 and I work with the urban environment in large-scale images and also in animated film clips. So I basically go out to a location, different places in Berlin, and I take hundreds of photos that I work together into one large-scale image, or take film clips and work it together to films. I've been here for 2 months now, so I'm actually leaving tomorrow. But I'm gonna stay in Berlin a couple of a months more. So yeah, but I'm leaving this place. But still, I'm gonna come back here every Thursday when we have this gathering on Thursday. So I'm gonna be around still.
Ich heiße Adrian Schindler. Ich komme aus Frankreich, aber ich bin von deutschen Eltern geboren, wurde also zweisprachig erzogen und bin jetzt nach Berlin gezogen vor 2 Monaten. Ich habe in Paris einen Master in der Kunsthochschule in Paris und bin jetzt in einem postgraduierten Programm in der UDK in Berlin und bin für die nächsten Jahre hier. Also in der Residenz für noch 4 Monate und in Berlin für mindestens 2 Jahre.
Well, I'm Rafael. I'm an artist from Chile. I finished my degree 2 years ago, mostly, and I was working in Chile doing some art projects, art research. At the same time working as a video maker and kind of film field, kind of art director and video assistant, different kind of things. I'm 25. This is my first time in Berlin, in Europe actually. So I'm doing now this residency program, but also I'm taking this time as a trip, as a travel. In different parts, and so one of those parts are Berlin and here specifically. I have been here 3 months now. I'm going to stay 2 weeks more. Well, as I said before, this is in the middle of a trip that I'm doing this year. I begin in Israel and Palestine. I was doing a research there in video mostly, and so I kind of finished that part of the trip and the research, and I'm kind of working that material, but I'm going to come back there for 1 month. So after this next 2 weeks, I'm coming back there, and after to Chile. Thinking in editing this work that I was doing.
Die entweder aus der Wissenschaft kommen, die aus der Researcher sind oder andersartig aktiv sind im Stadtgeschehen. Also im Grunde genommen können wir sagen, es geht um die Stadt, um die gebaute Stadt, aber es geht vor allem auch um Gesellschaft. Und die Stadt ist eine kondensierte Form verschiedener Gesellschaften, und das ist so der eigentliche Untersuchungsgegenstand vom Zentrum für Kunst und Urbanistik. Und das ZKU haben wir dann im Laufe dieses Prozesses das Gebäude gekauft und diesen Boden für 40 Jahre gepachtet. Also sind jetzt für 40 Jahre Eigentümer dieses Gebäudes. Und die 13 Atelierwohnungen, die wir über eine Förderung der Stiftung Lotto unter anderem hier reinbauen konnten, sind nun der Ort, wo Gäste aus aller Welt kommen, auch aus ganz verschiedenen Städten, aus verschiedenen gesellschaftlichen Zusammenhängen, und hier leben und arbeiten und zwischen 2 Monaten und 8 Monaten hier zusammen sind. Also ich sag mal, die kleine Pflanze, die es am Anfang war, waren 3. Also Harry Sachs, Matthias Einhoff, ich, Philipp Horst. Und dazu kommen seit einem Jahr arbeitet mit uns Samuel. Und dann gibt es verschiedene andere Kollegen, mit denen wir zusammenarbeiten. Im Moment ist es Marius Wittmann und Claudia Bohraum. Und wir hatten auch andere, mit denen wir projektbezogen zusammenarbeiten.
We have interns working with us, so we have at the moment 2 fixed interns who help us or in organizational matters or in research. For example, we had Diana, I don't know if you met her, I think you did the other Thursday. So she's like Diana and Elena, it's like a couple of people there in the kitchen helping to research international partners, like potential partners in the research area, like scientists, sociologists, urbanists, these kind of people. So it's kind of, I mean, the crew inclusive is organic. There's like the 4 of us, and then like people coming, going.
An email that I got from from the school where I did my master program. It was through there that I read that it was about to start. This was like somehow in February this year, and then well, I thought it made sense. Like I mean, there are lots of residencies, of artist residencies scattered around the world, but somehow since my work has been like in the last few years very much related to urbanism. I thought like it made sense to come here because what I was looking for was more like somehow to have an exchange of ideas with other artists who were also like working in issues related to cities and architecture. Yeah.
One of the professors in my grad program has a friend, one of the guys who runs this program, and I ended up meeting him sort of by chance last spring. And he knew I'd been in Berlin the year before. I was at another artist residency last summer called Picture Berlin, and so I sort of ran into him, met him, he told me about the program, and I was really looking for a residency for after I graduated, something preferably like more than a few months or more than a month, less than a year, and outside of New York. So I was really looking forward to getting out of New York temporarily. So yeah, it kind of fit my practice and it fit everything that I wanted. and I wanted to come back to Berlin too.
I think I found out about this place online. I think it was Facebook or something. I have a big network with friends and other artists that constantly post things about different residencies, and I've been meaning to go to Berlin for a long time. So when I saw that this place showed up in a post about that you could apply for this, I was really interested, and I made some research about this specific place since I wanted to know that it was a good place for me to work in and that had a lot to offer. And then I think I sent some emails to really find out what it was all about, and then I applied. So it was basically through friends on Facebook or forums like Artists and other forums that show you different residencies all over the world.
Eine Freundin aus Paris war hier im Austausch und sie hat mir, glaube ich, kurz vor dem Ende der Bewerbungsfrist irgendwie gesagt, das ist ein neuer Platz und der wird bald öffnen und du solltest dich dafür vielleicht interessieren, das wäre gut für dich. Und ich habe das dann kurz vor dem Ende, habe ich mich da bewerbt.
Because internet. Yeah, I found this place in internet. I was looking for do some residency program when I'm traveling here, and I knew that Berlin's a really nice place to meet other artists, and there's a lot of things happening. Also, it's a cheap city, cheap capital in Europe. So I took this opportunity to stay longer in one place in this travel that I'm doing, and I decided for Berlin. So I applied for this residency and other residency more. But yeah, actually in a website called Res Artist it was, and
when I came here, I began to do some research, and I was reading a lot about the history of urban infrastructure in Berlin. So monuments and buildings and roads and the history behind it. And I came upon a quote from 1910 that where an author talked about Berlin being always in a state of becoming and never actually being. So I somehow felt that even if this quote was from 1910, like there's still very much this characteristic in the city. Like it always has a feeling that it's changing and it's trying to grasp an identity. And somehow it's like I feel it's like a teenager city, like trying to look for an identity, and also like there's a lot of movement, and there's a lot of change in how the city looks. Like always when you talk to people, they say, well, yeah, but 20 years ago it was completely different. And I mean, like, it's true for many cities. I mean, all cities are constantly changing, but somehow I thought like perhaps Berlin is like the most iconic city where this on this issue of being unfinished is very, very present. So I began to do these drawings somehow, which try to reflect upon this characteristic of the city. And so I began to do a lot of work, which is somehow connected to the things you find like in construction sites, like the temporary signs that deviate traffic or that close a certain area for pedestrians, and also like the very classical and very iconic of Berlin, these blue and pink tubes that are used to take water from the soil, and so they can stabilize it for like the further constructions that will take place in the site. And but also I began to do works of based on parts of the city which are unfinished. So, for instance, I began a work based on a cylinder, which was a concrete cylinder, which was just a tryout for when the project of Germania during the Second World War, the project of making a different city and much with a lot of monuments and very monumental buildings. And there was meant to be an arc, an arc of triumph, like the one in Paris, but I don't know, like 20 times the same, bigger or whatever. And they made this just trial to see whether the concrete would sink. So they just poured a huge cylinder, like 15 meters in diameter, and the cylinder stayed there and it's still there. And somehow it's a reminder of a project that never actually came to a final stage, fortunately. And so I think it's an impressive site. Somehow it has this very strong and heavy presence because of the physicality, but also because of the history behind it.
My interests as an artist kind of span from interests in pop psychology, self-improvement, and ideas regarding function and handicaps, I guess, for function, or the things that that we apply to ourselves actually. And at some points I've been sort of thinking of these things architecturally as well, but in most cases it's these ideas as they pertain to ourselves or individuals. And so something that's very interesting to me is the way that marketing and psychology and manipulation play a role in our culture. And so about a year ago I started a collection of used self-help books, and so that's some of the books that I have here. And so this is a very small, I think I have somewhere between 100 and 150 books at home, and this is the small selection that I brought with me. And so I've been working with these books. Like I said, they're all used books, so they also they all have underlining and highlighting from previous users. And so when I first got here, I spent some time just sort of studying these books because I've been collecting them, but I really haven't had time to sit down and look at them. And so I've been developing projects using these books kind of as my inspiration. So I have this one project where I'm taking different bits of the text that are underlined portions from what other people have written, and sort of creating poems. And these books are all pretty specifically geared towards women. So I think it's the thing that's most interesting to me is the way that they're written and the way that they're used, not only to make money. We all sort of know how marketing works and how manipulative advertising is and things like this. But what I'm more interested in is how these things are used in relation to individuals, in relation to sort of creating a doubt or creating a void, and then work with them. And so in a conversation with one of these life coaches, I recorded every time that I agreed with this person, and then put that into a video that is also a performance of me kind of taping my mouth shut. My work maybe comes across as a little dark, but it's very cynical and it's very, I find this stuff fairly humorous, sad, frustrating. And I think it's like, I think the one thing that I've realized since I've been here is how American I am and how these things really don't exist in other cultures the way they do in the US. And the way that in the US we have this like constant drive to improve ourselves, to be better, to make more money, to have a better car, to get a bigger house, to buy more crap, and it's really something that I feel very uncomfortable with as an individual, because I'd like to believe at some point that we're all just as we are and we don't need to change. That I sometimes refer to my work or to my process of working as scratching an itch, and this is maybe an itch that I've had for a very long time that is really frustrating. And so when I do these projects, it's satisfying because I feel like I'm scratching an itch. I feel like even if I'm not coming up with any answers, I'm at least digging a little bit deeper, trying to get at something, and maybe if I step back again, it'll come out, and I hope it does. I don't know.
My work, it always takes up to 6 months before, if I'm here taking photos, then the time I spend working with them in the computer takes such a long time, so the final artworks don't come out until a couple of months later. So I'm always a little bit behind in that sense. For instance, now I'm finishing some photos from New York, where I stayed a year ago. So when all the artworks from Berlin is finished, I would like to exhibit them somewhere in the city, because I always want the works to start in the location where they've been collected. Most of the things that I've been taking photos of here in Berlin is still in a very early stage in my computer, so it probably wouldn't make much sense. It's just hundreds of photos from different angles and details. But the things I have here on the wall are, this one is my newest piece, and it's, I call it High Rise. It's an image that's made up from perhaps 50 or between 50 and 100 photos from Water Street overlooking Wall Street in New York. So it's really about that specific location and different vantage points looking out over the city. This print that I have here on the wall is just half the size of the one I would show in an exhibition. It would be more than 2 meters high and 1 meter wide. But this one is a little bit more convenient to handle. So I always work like this with that collage technique of working together a lot of photos, and in the end it's an image that stands somewhere between document and fiction, and it's always about a place in the city.
Ich könnte zum Beispiel von dem Projekt sprechen, was ich jetzt gerade am Vorbereiten bin. Das ist ein Projekt für das Rheinland, von wo meine mütterliche Familie kommt. Und das ist jetzt ein Projekt, was bis jetzt als so eine als einer dokumentarischen Form bis jetzt existiert und was zwischen Familiensuche, Performance in der Landschaft, Dokumentarfilm, Publikation zu tun hat. Und das hat bis jetzt noch keine definitive Form, das ist jetzt noch als Recherche. Und dieses Projekt werde ich auch durch mein postgraduiertes Programm arbeiten. Und ja, ich könnte euch ein Poster zeigen, was ich bis jetzt gemacht habe. Also die heutige Form der Recherche ist bis jetzt so ein Poster mit diesen Archivdokumenten. Das könnte ich euch zum Beispiel zeigen.
This is one of the tests that I'm doing about the also taking the map of Israel and Palestine. It's one of the things that I'm working now on. This is 15 just like here. Almost. Yeah, so it fits the same map and the same structure of the.
So yeah, this is the part of these images that I was
That I'm working about Palestine and the wall and some specific situations. This was specific in a checkpoint at 6 in the morning, where all the workers who work in Israel from Palestine, they go in there that hour, and it's really messy. But they're used to it. This is everyday thing. So, oh yeah, it's quite normal. And it's all about this. This is one scenario that I took. These are all footage. It's nothing editing.
Ja, das Ziel ist, eine spannende Plattform zu haben für Kunst und Stadt hier und das Programm oder die Veranstaltung lebendig zu erhalten, also auch lebendig sowohl für die Außenwelt, also für die von außen kommen, das heißt die Nachbarschaft auch, genauso wie die, ich sag mal, globale oder internationale Kunstspezialistenschaft, also in dem Bereich, in dem wir arbeiten, aber auch für die Leute hier im ZKU selber, die Programm teilnehmen. Dass es trotzdem eine Arbeitsatmosphäre gibt, die eben auch den nötigen Rückzugsraum gibt, den sie brauchen. Also ist ja auch gerade durch dieses Platziertsein mitten im Park und den Bahnsteig, den wir teilweise öffentlich begehbar machen in der Halle und dann aber auch so einen Bereich haben, der dann für die Residents, exklusiver für die Residents da ist.
Physically, it's very interesting. I mean, like the fact that it's an old train depot that was somehow transformed, and I mean, I think also like the way they adapted the building is very significant of the way people are working here. And I mean, like there are things which were very practical when they adapted the place, like in terms of they were putting like double windows, double glass windows, and these things to make it like more efficiently in terms of energy. But there were many things about the building itself and its history, that they decided to leave it there as a remnant of the place's history. So like you see graffiti, the graffiti around the building is still there, and in the floor there is still like these the paintings which are the yellow lines painted, which were original from the place. And I think it's I mean, it speaks a little bit. I mean, it's a nice atmosphere, but it speaks a little bit about also the way I think people are working in here, in the sense that you can really see an intention to try to think about the place in itself, rather than just make it something new, to reuse things and to think about the history behind it.
When I moved in here, the building wasn't, the space was pretty much still under construction. So I was basically living in a construction site, but that's something that is very exciting for me, and I really liked being kind of part of that transformation from this building, from what it used to be to now that it's this artist residency. But the first group of people that moved in here, I think we all bonded pretty tightly over this experience of moving into a new place. You know, we didn't have really any clue as to how this residency was going to work. And the guys who run the residency, I think, intentionally left things a bit open for us. So there was no schedule. There was really no. I mean, we came up with the idea that we would have dinners on Thursday night, and we came up with sort of how we wanted it to work, and that was really quite an opportunity to be able to come into a kind of a blank slate of a space. No one had been in here before. No one had lived in this building before. We were the first people to actually ever sleep in this building. Oh, who knows, maybe there's. But, you know, so being part of this like kind of new adventure, and them letting us sort of dictate how it was going to work was really quite cool. And then since then, a lot of new residents have come in, people have come and gone, and probably about every month things slightly change. So right now we've sort of like maybe built in a few more programs. We do, you know, we're starting a reading group, and we have meetings, and we have an experimental music night, and so it's become a bit more of a community, but it's great because it always changes depending on what people bring to the space and what people want to get out of it, and how communal people want to be and stuff like that.
Some actually, it's not just only artists. We also have some scholars and a poet, for instance, and so it's a mix of different people. But it's a good community. Everyone lives here, and we have on Thursdays we meet and have dinner together in the kitchen, and someone is presenting their work. And yeah, we also have the staff that works here that helps us with practical things to also, or of course, are in charge of the program that they run here. Different, for instance, they had a conference about wastelands coming together from all over the world, like a twinning workshop it was called. So it's a place that feels very new and feels like a lot of things are happening and developing here.
Also ich glaube, das ist etwas sehr Spezielles hier, dass man am Ring schon ist, dass hinter uns die Schienen sind und der Hafen, also dieser industrielle Hintergrund hat eine sehr spezielle Energie. Daneben gibt es auch der Kiez Moabit, der mit kleinen Straßen ist, mit kleinen Häusern, mit viel Bäumen und viel Familien. Also ich glaube, das ist ein sehr, sehr merkwürdiger Kontrast zwischen diesen zwei Welten, und ich glaube, das macht auch dieser diese Residenz auch sehr spezial, weil man hier zwischen zwei Ebenen ist. Und ja, und weil wir jetzt auch in diesem öffentlichen Park sind, also das Gebäude ist ja in Mitte von diesem öffentlichen Park, hat man auch viel Kontakt mit den Familien, die vorbeikommen, und Leute fragen oft, was es hier ist, und gucken durchs Fenster. Und ich glaube, da ist etwas, was sich damit auch entwickeln wird, also so ein Dialog zwischen den Leuten des Kiez und die Künstlerresidenten. Und ich glaube, das ist auch sehr interessant hier, weil das auch noch nicht total definiert ist, und wie man dieses Gebäude dann benutzt und was der Kontakt wird mit dem Viertel. Ich glaube, das ist spannend.
Well, I think the place it's a good place. It's a good place to stay, to do art. The building is so great. It's really nice area surrounded by this park. Also, this neighborhood it's not that well known that other sites in Berlin, but it's interesting to be in this neighborhood that it's not so much art galleries or art events than in Kreuzberg or Neukölln, for example. So you feel that you are in a normal place that continues the life, and the people works and the people walk and the people goes to the bar that is in the corner, like the old guy. So you have this interaction with the city that it's you don't feel that you're in an artist bubble in some point, because you have this place that you need to interact in somehow. But at the same time, you're a bit far from those areas. So I think it's something that has the good things and maybe bad things, because you're a bit far from where the most galleries or I don't know shows take place. So you need to really to decide. Okay, I'm going to for me it's going to the city, going to so take the S-Bahn, whatever. Take some time. But anyway, I think it's a good place to work, because also that you're a bit alone at some point, so you're living in a place that it's a bit far, but you're also in Berlin, so it's like if you want to have all the advantage of being Berlin, you can have it, and also you have the advantage of being a bit far in this place that it's more silent, and you have the train station that's you see all the trains going and coming, so it makes you a nice ambience for work, I think.
Ja, ich fühle mich hier sehr wohl in Kreuzberg, und immer diesen Weg durch den Tiergarten durch. Hier anzukommen, und der Weg durch den Tiergarten ist immer so ein bisschen wie, als ob ich mich kurz wie so in so einem Wald, in so einem Jagdrevier verschwinde und dann hier wieder im Moabit auftauche, und dann gerade auch hier insbesondere hier an dem Rand zu sein, von dem Wohnraum, also ein bisschen so Halbgewerbeindustrie, und den Blick dann nach Norden zu haben in den Westhafen und die Bahn, und im Hintergrund die Wohnung, den Kiez, ne? So die Wohnung ist ein komischer Sandwich, ne? Also ist irgendwie schon am Ende, weil irgendwie sind wir nicht mehr so richtig im Kiez drin. Ne? Auch die Siemensstraße ist so brutal mit dem Verkehr, da steht man noch mal 10 Minuten, um rüber zu kommen. Von daher ist es man ist eben so ein Endstück von so einem Darm, wie so ein Blinddarm irgendwie drin. Aber gleichzeitig ist der Raum drumherum da. Ne? Also nach da und auch nach da. Also der Blick mit dem offenen Gelände drin. Schon sehr speziell. Und es ist irgendwie so schön unaufgeregt. Also es ist so auf gewisse Weise ruhig. Ich wohne in der Oranienstraße, und da ist immer total viel Halligalli. Und hier ist es so, ich weiß nicht, ich fühle mich hier sehr wohl.
I think one thing that artists sort of grapple with is that, a lot of us study in universities where you have a community, and it's really important because some of us make work that is a bit crazy, and maybe if you were living in complete isolation making the work that you make, you would be considered a crazy person. But when you have a community of people around you all doing, all working in projects completely different from one another, but there's a bit of support and sense of belonging to something that is really exciting, and also to be able to go to the kitchen to make a cup of coffee, and if I'm having trouble with a project or I'm working with software that I've never used and I have a question, chances are somebody here has been there and I can ask them, and maybe they'll come to my studio and take a look at what I'm doing and give me some advice. Some residency programs are very structured, so they will bring in visiting artists and curators or critics or whatever, and you might go to one residency looking to get some exposure. This residency so far has been more about having this like huge studio. I'll never have a studio as gorgeous as this, probably, unless I, have some like great luck. But having this space and the community, and really just for me, I don't have any interruptions. So maybe I have emails, and I'm not from Berlin, so I don't have family here. I don't get phone calls during the day. If I don't want to talk to anybody, I can stay in my room all day and just work. And that for me is like a complete luxury. And that's like the height of luxury for me. Of course, all of these programs differ, and it's something that I feel really lucky to be able to do right now, to do this residency, go home for a few months, figure out my next move, go to this other residency. I have a show in April. I'm working on a collaboration with another artist to do a project in May. And then, so it's constantly like planning your next step just far enough down the line so that there is a next step, But yeah.
Well, actually, yeah, since I came here, I began to do a lot of research about the city, and I'm very enthusiastic about what I've been able to start at the moment, and I think I'm gonna keep on working on the subject matter of Berlin, even if I won't be living here anymore. But I think from many of the photographs that I've taken so far, I will keep on working and doing a series of drawings later, also in relation to Berlin. And hopefully what I'm looking for is maybe in a year time or so, coming back and exhibiting all, like, not only the work that I did here, but also what I managed to do after leaving Berlin, and show it here.
Ein Schlusswort. Ich glaube, es ist hier viel zu machen, und es gibt sicher schöne Projekte, die von hier herauskommen werden.
Danke.
And so now that something's coming out, it's
Today I've been working on these boxes, cardboard boxes, and along the contact lines.